Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Who am I but I'm Dre Mack? Came into the game just to spit facts. Into the space that I'm in. They got me by the Drake cause I'm cold with the pen. I run no diamonds, but I still shine. You can dig me, cause my boy's mine. My tracks flame like a Galu. The hardest part on my tongue, thinking is a warm blue. I'ma throw with a gas leak. Camouflage in the mist, but you smell me. One spark, then I bet you I'ma blow up. They throw my name around, get stupid, then you go dumb. No rest for the weary. A versus thinking in his man, but you can't see me. You rather drink than go pull up. I'm drinking knife through the game, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. I came to eat at the a la carte. Got stripped of a bear, come me brainstorm. Then I come together like a Voltron. Then I poured all the planks, you use Decepticons. Straight rappers in the streets like Cobra. 80s baby floating like up in the storage and I'm E-man. Up, down, down, man, I'm cheap. You a beast, man. I take a beating. Ninja Turtle rap, turtle plans, get defeated. High in my ride, you can call me Night Rider. You can never stop me, cause I'm a guy bomb. Bad attitude like a rocket, my whole to the A, and I bet you can stop us. LL bad, when I go and show up, you can hear the haters in the back. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie. Let me get him where I fit in, homie.
This is a test. This station is conducting a test of the emergency broadcasting system. This is only a test.
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit. Taste the honey sauce. Taste the goodness of the biscuit with the honey sauce. Don't get that honey sauce on me. I don't like the way it tastes with my chicken wings.
We return you now to your regularly scheduled program.
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What is going on, everybody? This your man Dre Mack coming to you again with another episode of the Dre Mack Show. 7:30 in the morning Central Time, 8:30 on the East Coast. And if you're on the West Coast right now, go ahead and get up. Oh, let me fix my hat because the early bird gets the worm. And on today, we are going to go over Black History Untold. And I was trying to do this like a week and a half ago. This particular video talking about Disney's racist past, Disney's racist history. And I believe this does need to be studied or whatever, because we have talked multiple times about things that have went on within Disney. You know what I mean? And I think it's time to really we got to dive into this. We got to dive into this. And I think that today is the perfect day to dive into this. Again, I was trying to do this some time ago. again, I try to look at everything that you guys send me as much as I possibly can. Um, but this was sitting in the stash. So most definitely we gotta talk about it. We gotta talk about it. So hopefully you guys, I mean, it's gonna be a reaction video. It's gonna be a little long. I gotta get out of here pretty early. Um, gotta take my son to the doctor. So hopefully you guys are happy. And I gotta get my hair braided. But hopefully you guys are happy. Hopefully you guys are healthy. Shout out to my man Heavy Gant over at the Heavy Gant React channel. But you already know how I do. The real question is, why we can't get it?
Say why you hating on my energy? Say why you hating on my energy? I don't think you wanna be my enemy.
Button like 4-5 times and it still wouldn't do nothing. All right. All right, let's get this thing going, man. Let me look and see who was in the chat today. I honestly made sure to so I don't put it on the I put it on landscape today so we don't have to deal with the mobile version or whatever and people coming into the mobile version. You know what I'm saying? Talking crazy. So I made sure to do that in this particular stream. So let's get into it. Let's see exactly what we got going on. All right, Damon, what's good? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Arbico, good morning, good morning. Tina, aka Minty Guys, good morning, good morning. Miss Roberta, the church auntie, I hope you feel a lot better today. I do. I really hope you feel a lot better today. Torian, what's good? Good morning, good morning, good morning. X-Men Xavier Phoenix, good morning, good morning, good morning. Village Brother, good morning, good morning. Junior Network, good morning. Princetta, good morning. Rashad Walker, good morning. Let me see. Yep. And like I said, I made sure not to put on the mobile version today. I just don't feel like dealing with that. I don't feel like dealing with that. But you know what I really want to do? I want to get what's going on, Krisha Key. I see you up in here. Justice No. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I don't want to hear about no head maximums or whatever. Oh, the talking and junkety junk. Michael Johnson, what's up? But I really want to get into this video. I think it's very important. This is one of the reasons why I look at the way that even Marvel is even conducting business. Let's just get into it. Before we get into it, let me go ahead and shout out all the crew members, man. Let's go ahead. Let's go. Hold up. Wait a minute. Wait. Whoa. Stop everything you're doing. Go and hit that like button. I know this is probably your first time watching and you probably enjoying everything. Stop fucking on the channel and go and hit that subscribe button so you never miss one of my videos or one of my morning live streams. And for only $2.99 a month, you know you can be a part of the crew. And shout out to all my crew members that have been holding it down for Dre Mack and the crew since the beginning. All right, back to your regularly scheduled program, now in service. Go. Bye. All right. And of course, everybody that's a crew member, I really appreciate you guys, man. Like for real. All right, let's get into it. Let me go ahead and share my screen. I have watched videos from Black Stories Untold. But then when I seen the one about Disney, and like I said, this goes back. I've been having this waiting for a couple weeks now. So let's get into it. It is, you share my screen. First of all, let me not do that. Oh my Lord, have mercy. Every time Every time. There we go. There we go. Yeah, and it's like all the trolls go to the mobile site. That's crazy. The mobile side. Ain't nobody got time for that. All right. Disney's hidden war against Black America. Let's go.
In 1946, the NAACP picketed movie theaters across America to stop children from seeing a Disney film. That movie was Song of the South. And civil rights leaders knew something that most parents didn't. Disney wasn't just making cartoons anymore. They were manufacturing white supremacy for kids, wrapped in catchy songs and cute characters. What they discovered would expose how America's most trusted family brand spent decades programming children to see whiteness as magic and blackness as comedy, servants, or nothing at all.
And I've always said that I'm not a fan of Dumbo. Never been a fan of that movie. Never seen Song of the South. I don't even know where you could be able to see it at. I don't think you can see it here. Even when it comes to Black Panther, and that's what I was saying. This is why the fight for T'Challa is so passionate for me. Why it's so passionate for me is because Disney has had a history against Black Americans. And especially when you start showing a fictional kingdom like Wakanda that's never been colonized with a Black, strong, heterosexual king, they can't take that because we have been vilified for so long that this is what it is. And and that's what I say even about Black Panther. Again, not saying Black Panther is a bad movie at all, nowhere close. It's a good movie. It's a not that great of a Black Panther story because it even made the villain, in the story more prominent than the actual main lead. That's why I always say this bull crap about T'Challa. It just the way that they propped him up and Chadwick Boseman, there could nobody ever be that, whatever. That's because they don't want that type of progress to continue. And again, while I was going so hard against a certain person named Ernie and whoever else about Black representation on screen, especially Black, strong, male, heterosexual representation. We ain't got no problem with women. But again, Shuri is a Black Panther, not the Black Panther. Actually, she's a supporting character. And M'Baku, supporting character. Who else? Any other character, supporting character. They're not the main character. The main character should continue. But yet, Hollywood, especially at Disney Marvel, did not want to see that. They thought you were dumb. Let me tell you, Black folks, and anybody else who want this smoke, they thought you were stupid. And they sent cover agents to be able to tap dance to Bojangle so you can either get a stereotype, baby daddy, because that's what they were trying to push. And again, that's why I blame Ryan Coogler for this, because here's the stereotype I could push. A, instead of a king of Wakanda that actually has world's beings and stuff like that, they could actually have a wife and you could be able to have a kingdom like they did in the comics. Let's make him a baby daddy. Strike number one. Let's make him not as intelligent as his sister. Strike number two. Because he's one of the most intelligent people in the comics. But let's strip him from all of that. Number three, strike number three. Let's have the main antagonist in the whole thing even be justified by his actions. Just because he's Black and just because he grew up as a Black American, that wanted to fight the man, but the Africans didn't come. So let's be able to push this narrative that he was even right. I mean, yeah, you could. But what about just a story about a king and his kingdom? That wasn't good enough. See, what they wanted to do was rile up our feelings. and they got you caught up in the feelings. Then it gets you caught up in logic. There's no logic to anything that was going on in there. They didn't want you to focus on a king and his kingdom. They didn't want you to focus on how smart and intelligent he is, like we sat there with Tony Stark, like we sat there with Bruce Banner, like we sat there with any other character that is a think tank in the MCU, with a Reed Richards, who you showed him being a father and a daddy in the MCU. Can't do that with you can't do that with T'Challa. You couldn't show him being a king in his kingdom because they did not want to show you that. And then they were going to double down on his death. Not only did they kill the character, they used the actor as propaganda to sell the movie. And if that ain't modern day stringing you up, letting you dangle there, I don't know what is. That's my rant. Let me keep going.
Everything you think you know about Disney's innocent past is a lie. From 1928 through the 1960s, Walt Disney Studio didn't just reflect American racism. They perfected it, packaged it, and sold it to every family in America. While other studios made films for adults who already had their racial views formed, Disney specialized in catching children early, using animation and theme parks to embed white supremacist ideology so deep that generations of kids would never even notice it was there. The FBI knew Disney was reliable enough to use as an informant during the Red Scare.
Oh, how many people knew that Disney was being used by the FBI? Who knew that? Because I didn't know that.
Civil rights organizations knew Disney was dangerous enough to organize national boycotts, but somehow your history teachers never mentioned any of this.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Here's what the Mouse House spent 70 years trying to hide. They didn't stumble into racist content by accident. They built their empire on a deliberate system of racial hierarchy that made white characters the heroes of every story, while reducing black people to minstrel show punchlines, grateful servants, or invisible ghosts haunting the edges of American history.
Exactly. Even if you go back and watch Dumbo, which I hate, I really hate that movie. The crows named Jim. Yeah, I don't know. I never see the elephant fly. I legitimately hate that movie with a passion, because even when they putting up the tents, there's just black shadowy figures. They don't even have a face. I hate that movie with a passion. I do. I hate Dumbo.
Civil rights leaders tried to stop them.
Disney didn't just movies, but I hate that one.
They doubled down, creating theme parks that turned white nostalgia into a literal magic kingdom, while erasing black contributions to the same history they were selling as patriotic education. But how did a cartoon mouse become one of the most powerful propaganda tools in American history? How did Disney convince millions of families that their racial fantasies were just wholesome entertainment? And why are they only now admitting what civil rights leaders tried to tell America over 70 years ago?
Wow.
Mickey Mouse made his debut in 1928,
Mickey Mouse is a minstrel character.
Disney's racial programming started immediately. Those early cartoons weren't just experimenting with animation techniques. They were beta testing racial humor that came straight from minstrel shows.
Yes, they was. I've always said Mickey Mouse was a minstrel character. You know what I'm saying? Especially with the gloves. Anytime that I see a character from that time period with white gloves on, you know what I'm saying, doing the jig or anything, I know it comes from the minstrel era. And they continue this whole thing, you know what I'm saying, to this day. Honestly, it goes on into this day.
Faces would turn black from explosions, presented as comedy. Mickey and Friends performed Uncle Tom's Cabin in blackface in a 1933 cartoon called Mickey's Melodrama. While other studios hid their racist content in live-action films aimed at adults, Disney was delivering the same minstrel show stereotypes directly to children, disguised as harmless animal antics and slapstick comedy. This wasn't accidental borrowing from American culture. Walt Disney and his animators were deliberately drawing from vaudeville and minstrel traditions. But they were doing something more insidious than their predecessors. They were training children to see racial mockery as normal entertainment. When kids laughed at Mickey in blackface, they weren't just enjoying a cartoon.
And then
they were learning that black.
Then if you look at Mickey Mouse, hold up. Hold on, I'm gonna go
could
back.
put on for laughs, something ridiculous and temporary that existed for their amusement. If you believe these hidden stories about
Hold on. There we go.
they weren't just enjoying a cartoon,
Look at Mickey. They got Mickey out here looking like a pickaninny, which was I told y'all. I need after I come from Florida, I need to start looking at going to DC so I could go to the Jim Crow Museum this year. Because literally, if you go and look at pickaninnies and stuff like that, it's exactly what you'll see. And this is why I have so much of a disdain for people who protect the mouse. And what I mean by that is that when we start talking about, like I said, we start talking about recast T'Challa, and we start talking about, how they've portrayed black men, even in Marvel, because Marvel's owned by Disney. You know what I mean? When you have investors and stuff like that saying, well, why do we have to have black people in this? And why do we have to have black people in that? This is what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Because they want to keep that's why everything white is right. That's why they want to keep that same energy for a white Captain America with the black guy. He didn't even get a good story to be able to tell because they felt like the black dude couldn't carry a movie. They legitimately, if you go back and look, and this is why I was so mad at Anthony Mackie just cheesing and having a good time, bro. They gave you a bullshit script and said, hey, you can make it work. You happy? You got Harrison Ford. And they didn't think he could sell that movie by himself. So that's why they added Harrison Ford and the Red Hulk. That's why. Because they didn't have no faith in the brother to carry the movie. That's what it was. But you've already seen the brother carry a movie in Chadwick Boseman, and technically it wasn't even Chadwick. It was Michael B. Jordan and Chadwick, because Michael B. Jordan got just as much of screen time as an antagonist as the protagonist in the movie. And hell, the protagonist was thrown off a cliff like in the comics, but was absent for a good second half of the movie. The whole second act of the movie, this dude is gone, and he doesn't come back until it's time to scold his father. For them, the same writer of that movie, to double down in the next movie on the baby daddy trope and to be able to send his child to Haiti and not have him raised up in Wakanda like he should. The same thing he scolded his father on. What is this? And that's why I have heat for Ryan on the writing on this. It's not that I hate Ryan or anything like that. Dude, look what you're doing. You don't think you're referencing the same stereotypes that we're trying to escape from that didn't apply to T'Challa? But you're still applying the same tactics. What is it, to please Disney? That's what's confusing me, because then you go and do your own project on the Warner Brothers and don't do any of that. I'm confused.
they were learning that black identity was a costume white characters could put on for laughs, something ridiculous and temporary that existed for their amusement. If you believe these hidden stories about how Disney shaped American racial attitudes deserve to be told, subscribe to Black Stories Untold and help us expose the truth they've been hiding for.
Subscribe to this channel, because I watched what did I watch? The Jack Johnson story on here. It's a couple videos that I watched on here, but it was funny because I watched the Jack Johnson story on here and then turn around, Dave Chappelle does the whole bit on his special, which was amazing.
Decades. These aren't just old cartoons we're talking about. This is about how one company programmed generations of children to see race the way white supremacists wanted them.
What's
to.
up, Macon?
Now, back to
we
the
got
video.
our own. We
By
just read
1940, Disney had perfected their formula with Fantasia, a film they promoted as high art for sophisticated audiences. The original theatrical version included a black centaur character named Sunflower in the Pastoral Symphony sequence, designed with every racist stereotype you can imagine, and relegated to serving white centaurs like a plantation servant. When civil rights pressure mounted years later, Disney didn't apologize. They just quietly removed Sunflower from all future releases, pretending she never existed.
Exactly.
That's how confident they were in their system. They could make black characters disappear from their own films, and most audiences would never even notice. But Sunflower was just...
Did you notice that? Did you notice that? They can make black characters just disappear, and they think, and that's why I said, people, they think you're stupid. They got what they're doing with, and that's why I bring it back. I'm always going to bring it back to Black Panther, because what they was doing, they was like, this guy's asking for more money. Just before Chadwick passed, we can just replace him with his sister. So not only have we got a woman, and if you dare go against the woman, you know what I'm saying, then the feminist group is going to come after you. The dudes with the septic rings in their noses, they're going to go after you. You know, because how dare you disrespect the black woman who could be the Black Panther? So in their attempt to justify their actions, they could give you a woman, a black woman at that. You better not go against black women and the Black Panther, even though she's a supporting character. She's not even the main character. And we'll fast track her. You don't care. They think we're stupid. You're just gonna come to the movies anyway just to watch it. No matter what we put on there, they thought we were gonna watch it. And I'd be damned that we didn't. You know what I'm saying? We didn't fall for the banana in the tailpipe. Because the next movie tanked when they tried what they did with Captain America and all of that. We didn't go watch that just because he was black. That's why Marvel was losing money. It's not because he was black, it's what he represented and who he was. But you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you can make him the symbol. You go prop this guy up to be the symbol of America, but the symbol of a fictional kingdom was too much for y'all. Nope.
Practice for what came next. In 1941,
they didn't.
Disney released Dumbo, featuring a group
racist
of crows who spoke in minstrel show dialects and taught a white elephant how to fly.
Yep.
The crow characters weren't just stereotypical. They were a masterclass in how to make racist caricature seem helpful and friendly. Kids watching Dumbo learned that black characters existed to serve white protagonists, that their value came from entertaining white people with their colorful dialect and musical abilities, and that they should be grateful just to be included in the story at all.
Facts.
The lead crow wasn't officially named Jim Crow, but Disney knew exactly what they were referencing.
Absolutely. And then even if you go back and watch Dumbo, that's why I hate that movie with every being in my body. The mouse is calling them boy, calling the crows boy. The mouse is. And the mouse is a short little light gray mouse calling big black crows boy. Y'all not catching? This might be a little too deep for y'all.
And so did every adult who understood the connection to Jim Crow segregation laws.
Sure was.
During World War II, Disney's propaganda partnership with the U.S. government revealed just how powerful their influence had become.
My son used to watch that movie
over
all
a
the
decade
time.
training children to see racial hierarchy as natural entertainment was now officially working with federal agencies to shape American attitudes about enemies and allies.
And y'all don't believe, and again, with the Ellisons buying Warner Brothers, they are telling you the government had a hidden agenda to propagate racial divide in this country. That was in the 1940s. Do you not think damn near 80 years later, they're still doing the same damn thing? That's why you really got to watch you really do have to watch social media. You have to watch it because it's the reason why TikTok, the reason why X is the way it is. You know what I'm saying? Look at what they promote. You know what I'm saying? Look what they will push. You see what I mean? You got to watch even the news channels you watching, because look what they will promote and look what they will push. Y'all don't think that the United States government knows what the hell they're doing? I'm trying to tell you, man, it's bigger. That's why I kept saying the Warner Brothers deal is they don't care about no damn Snyder Bros. If you think these people care about the Snyder Code, you're crazy. They don't give a damn about that. They give a damn about the programming that they could do with the news. That is collateral damage on top of the plate. Y'all can make a little money off of there. Who cares? I want to be able to control the media. Ever since Donald Trump even uttered the words fake news, they have been trying to control the media ever since then. I'm trying to tell you, this ain't nothing. No, I'm trying to tell you, this is history repeating itself all over again.
Disney produced military training films filled with racial caricatures of
Yes,
Japanese
they
people,
did.
using the same animation techniques they'd perfected for domestic racial stereotypes.
Yes,
The
they
government
did.
trusted Disney to program soldiers' racial attitudes because they'd already proven they could program children's. But Disney's masterpiece of racial manipulation was still coming.
I'm trying to tell you, these people are not slick. These people are not slick. Torian, thanks, bro, for the $10 super chat. Dre, they saw white kids loving T'Challa Black Panther more than those white characters after one appearance in Civil War and a main role in his own movie that shook them to their core. Absolutely. They did not want to. In again, Chadwick's own brother said they did not want to see a black king on screen. They did not want to see a black, strong, heterosexual man. Matter of fact, we just had that conversation with Lauren Victoria Burke about Jonathan Majors, a black heterosexual man that had, exudes strength and confidence. No, we got to take that brother down. You don't know your place. You know what I'm saying? That's all it was. It was you didn't know your place. So let me hook you up real quick because I see you got the second one going in. Let's go.
You are truly amazing. Thank you for your super chat.
All right, appreciate that one. Then you came back with the $5 super chat. Say also they projected the first weekend numbers to be about 90 million. They had it out for this movie from day one. Absolutely, and again, this is why I'm trying to tell you that I was going so hard for this because I didn't know all of this extra history. This is the first time I watched this. I didn't know all this extra history, but I know that Disney's racist. I mean, hell, Walt Disney's from Kansas City. I know a little bit more about Walt Disney than I should know. But I appreciate the super chat, man. You already know what we doing up here.
Gang bang. Gang bang.
You are truly amazing.
Gang
Thank you for your super chat.
Gang bang. Gang bang.
All right, let's keep it going.
In 1946, they released Song of the South, combining live action and animation
up, people.
to tell
Hold up, wait a
stories
minute.
about a cheerful black man.
Hold up, wait a minute. Get the likes up. Get the likes up. Get the likes up. Let's get the likes up, people. Let's make sure to get the likes up. You said Donald Trump has ended civil rights laws, and the reason 400,000 black women have lost their jobs is look how it's going. Look how it's going.
And entertaining white children on a plantation. The film never explicitly stated whether slavery had ended, creating a deliberate ambiguity that let audiences imagine a world where black people were content in their subordinate roles, grateful for the opportunity to serve white families, and
Facts.
naturally gifted at providing comfort and entertainment without expecting equality in return. Civil rights leaders saw exactly what Disney was doing. The NAACP organized protests before the film even hit theaters, picketing premieres and writing directly to Walt Disney, demanding he cancel the release. Walter White, the NAACP's executive secretary, warned that Song of the South would undo decades of progress in challenging stereotypes about black people.
Hold up. Listen. And just put Black Panther in your mind. Listen to what he says, but then think about Black Panther, the movie, and what it did, why it was a cultural movement. Listen, I'm gonna play it back, but listen to exactly what he's saying.
NAACP organized protests before the film even hit theaters, picketing premieres and writing directly to Walt Disney, demanding he cancel the release. Walter White, the NAACP's executive secretary, warned that Song of the South would undo decades of progress in challenging stereotypes about Black people.
Undo decades of progress, challenging what they thought about Black people. Fast forward to 2018. Black Panther shows you that you have a Black man as king of the richest country in the world, and with Chadwick's death, they undid everything that made that movie what it was. They just undid it, and they got you caught up more in mourning the actor. Not another white actor that died, not even the Mexican actor that died during Daredevil. Nope. Black guy got it the worst. Why? Because they were trying to undo everything that Black Panther started, showing a strong Black man. Like Torian said, having white children be infatuated with a Black king. Remember what racists say, we was kings and shit. Hey, you know what? We were. And what they could not stand is for us to be in this position, to actually have their children look up at us. But we are supposed to look up at Captain America without no problem. We're supposed to look up at Thor without no problem. We're supposed to look up at Bruce Banner without no problem. But T'Challa is where you drew the line. And these Negroes don't see nothing wrong with that. They rather fight against their brother in this than to sit up here and admit that these people are racist and don't give a good shit about Black people. They don't care. They don't care. Well, you know what I mean. And yes, I did see a Bug's Life, but yes, it's literally an allegory for racism, oppression, discrimination, and slavery. So, and again, I've said this before, May Kenny, you heard me say, pay me or pay me no, never mind. That's how you honor me. You don't honor me in death. You honor me because you pay me. Speaking of getting paid, Kendrick Walker the Super Bowl MVP for the Seattle Seahawks gets paid by the Kansas City Chiefs. That's how you do it. You pay me or pay me no, never mind. What's up, D Sizzle? You said Brother Spare Blur singing zippity doo dah, zippity day. It'll be a wonderful day. Yeah. We know the zippity doo dahs around here. You know what I'm saying? You know the talking points that they say. But these zippity doo dah butter biscuit brothers of the week, brothers of the month, they not going, you know what I mean? They're not going to admit that because they're going to shame you. Again, shame, insults, guilt, and the need to be right. They're gonna try to move the goalposts and the narrative. You know what I'm saying? Make themselves sound like they're the victim, and then shame you and the fact that you don't want to see a Black woman be king. What's wrong with that? That's shame. That is shame.
Essentially providing a Disney-branded argument that plantation life wasn't so bad, and Black people were happiest when they knew their place.
Exactly.
Disney released Song of the South anyway. The film was commercially successful, won an Academy Award for Best Song with Zippity Doo Dah, and gave James Baskett an honorary Oscar for his performance as Uncle Remus. But
wild.
Here's the detail.
That's wild. And again, this is just how Hollywood works. When you doing everything under the sun to undermine your people, they will reward you to death. It's hard out here for a pimp. That won a Grammy. You got people winning Oscars by getting plowed on screen, by playing dirty undercover cops. Right? That'll get you up there. You can get an Oscar. But let you play a character that has morals, values, and all of that. You going home empty. Just saying.
That reveals everything about American racial attitudes in 1946. Basket couldn't attend the
same
film's
way
Atlanta
80
premiere
years later
because of segregation laws. Disney created a movie celebrating black servitude, gave the Black Star an award for his performance,
Yes, they
but
did.
couldn't guarantee him a seat at his own movie's opening night.
Exactly.
The company was perfectly comfortable profiting from black performance while accepting that black humanity was negotiable depending on local white preferences.
This is why I had a problem with T'Challa when they showing Chadwick's death on screen, because what it would literally tell you is that we do not care about your progress. We will kill you on screen. You better not ask for a quarter. And I'm gonna make sure your own people will fight you against it. Boy, I'm trying to tell you, programming is a cold piece, boy.
What happened next proves that Disney knew exactly how problematic their racial content was. As civil rights movements gained power through the 1950s and 1960s, Disney didn't defend Song of the South or argue for its historical value. Instead, they locked it in the vault, never releasing it on home video in the United States, while quietly continuing to profit from its characters and songs. This wasn't a company learning from past mistakes. This was a company managing their brand image while preserving their right to exploit racial content when convenient. Meanwhile, Disney was building something even more powerful than films: theme parks that would literally construct white American identity as a physical space children could walk through and experience. When Disneyland opened in 1955, Main Street USA presented an idealized version of small-town America circa 1900 to 1910, complete with barbershop quartets, horse-drawn carriages, and turn-of-the-century charm. What it didn't include were any black people, despite the fact that black Americans were very much part of small-town American life in 1900. Disney had created a magical place where white nostalgia could exist without the complications of actual American history.
Facts.
Frontierland told the story of
Frontierland, and they were mad about Wakanda.
Westward expansion as a noble adventure, minimizing indigenous perspectives and presenting white settlement as natural progress. Liberty Square and later attractions like the Hall of Presidents taught children about American history through narratives that centered white founding fathers and white achievements, while reducing black contributions to a brief mention of emancipation.
I'm trying to tell you, this is literally full. This is full indoctrination of white supremacy. This is what we talk about when we're going after grifters. You know what I'm saying? And the Butter Biscuit brothers and sisters that repeat their rhetoric. This is what we're talking about, because this is the idealization of what they try to push. This is their Make America Great Again. This is what they want, where we knew our place. We fall in the background, and they can be able to tell whatever narrative they want to tell. That's why they hate people that are smart. They hate brothers that are smart. They hate sisters that are smart. Why do they hate that? Because when you legitimately start to question what they're talking about, this is what happens. They start pushing the narrative. They start fighting against you. They minimize you, but never acknowledge. Yeah, make it is this is, but nobody. But somehow I'm wrong.
Disney wasn't just entertaining families; they were providing historical education that taught children which Americans mattered and which ones existed only as footnotes to white achievement. This is where Disney's influence became truly insidious. Movies could be dismissed as entertainment, but theme parks felt like education. When families spent thousands of dollars to visit Disney World, they weren't just buying rides. They were buying into a version of American identity that felt authoritative because
I guess that's one of the reasons why, even as a kid, I mean, I'm from the Midwest, but even as a kid, I never wanted to go to Disney World or Disneyland. Only time I wanted to go to I don't know if it was Disneyland or Disney World that had Michael Jackson's Captain EO. That's it. I never wanted to go here. Never in my life. Never.
Was expensive, elaborate, and endorsed by millions of other families making the same pilgrimage. Children who grew up visiting Disney parks learned that real American history looked like Main Street, USA, sounded like the Hall of Presidents, and centered the experiences of people who looked like the majority of Disney's characters.
Yes.
The genius of Disney's system was that it made white supremacy feel wholesome. Kids didn't learn to hate black people. They learned not to think about black people at all,
there it
except
is.
as background characters, service providers, or historical victims who had been rescued by white heroes and white institutions.
Yup.
Disney taught children that white experiences were universal, white stories were timeless, and white perspectives were objective truth, rather than particular viewpoints shaped by racial advantage.
And that is so true. How many times have we heard stories, or we've heard stuff that came from a white point of view, and when that is questioned, especially when it has, you know, is deep in fictional, in fictional ideology, they're just pushing an agenda. They try so hard to fight to keep that, but then when we start telling truths, oh no, that cannot be true. Black people ain't been in no pyramids, or they didn't build no pyramids. How black people can't even do that? They're not even smart enough to do that. You know who is smart enough? Aliens. Anybody can build a pyramid, but a black person. You know what I mean? Like, it's the most idiotic, stupid thing I've ever heard in my life, because these people do not want to give us our nothing. Anything that we created or anything, they don't want to give it to us. Remember, thank you again for the $10 super chat. Remember, Wakanda is a creation of Marvel before Disney got a hold of it. For them, Disney, Disney, it was like integration of their world and how to respond, taint or ruin it. Think Black Wall Street, absolutely. And think about this also, Torian, because I was thinking about this. Remember, they after Chadwick passed, they said we're going to explore the world of Wakanda. What they were going to do is turn the world of Wakanda to an attraction. Damn the King, the attraction. And they saw people putting their arms across the saying Wakanda forever or whatever, and they were going to sell the attraction of Black progress, not the king, the attraction. That is more insidious than anything else in the entire world. Let me go ahead and hook you up real quick, because this is what these cats be doing.
You are truly amazing. Thank you for your
Taste the
super chat.
goodness of the biscuit.
Tasting the biscuits. I did hear of that. I have heard of that. Let's get back to the video real quick, because I just looked at the time. I gotta kind of get through this one. I can't be here all day. I gotta take my kid to the doctor, and I got a hair appointment.
1956, Disney hired Floyd Norman as their first black animator, but his experience reveals how the company maintained its racial hierarchy even when integrating its workforce. Norman worked on classics like Sleeping Beauty and The Jungle Book, but he often found himself the only black person in creative meetings, surrounded by colleagues who had spent their careers drawing the racial stereotypes that civil rights organizations had been protesting for decades. Norman later described feeling both welcomed by some colleagues and isolated by the company's overwhelming whiteness, knowing that his presence...
This sounds kind of like what Bo DeMayo was talking about. I'm not gonna go hard on Bo like Blue does, but this sounds a lot like what Bo DeMayo was saying. And I would never say his experience was wrong, but this is exactly what Bo DeMayo was saying. That there's these ideas and stuff like that he was trying to push, and and how he felt ostracized because he was one of the rare black voices in the room. That I could believe. Now, whatever those choices were, because he had Magneto in a Speedo, and I still cannot get that image out of my mind. It's burned. But You know, if it was for black people, like look what they did with Storm. Storm was relegated to basically the black best friend that will give you the encouragement to help you out. But even though I'm an omega level mutant and I'm super powerful, I'm gonna sideline you. You ought to say have you go through fear and trauma and all of that stuff instead of being the goddess that you are. You cannot make this stuff up.
This was historic, but also recognizing how much work remained to change Disney's fundamental approach to racial representation. By the 1990s, Disney was facing renewed criticism, but their response revealed how little their basic approach had changed. The 1992 film Aladdin featured lyrics about Arab lands, where they cut off your ear if they don't like your face. It's barbaric, but hey, it's home. Arab American groups protested the stereotypical imagery, and Disney eventually changed the lyrics for home video releases. But the pattern was familiar. Create stereotypical content, face organized opposition, make minimal changes while maintaining the profitable core product.
This is I gotta bring this up. This is why Disney's Little Mermaid. People got pissed off that Little Mermaid was a black girl, but wasn't pissed off that the only dude from the Caribbean island speaking was a damn Jamaican crab. Nobody else spoke like the crab, even though they were in the Caribbeans. Let's go to and shout out to Godfrey's podcast for pointing this out. Rafiki was the only person that spoke even an African dialect through his voice. The monkey. While the lions, the kings, spoke with American accent. And even though, you know, Mufasa was voiced by James Earl Jones, he had to go so his white son could be the king. Oh, I just can't wait to be king. We ain't talking about, you know, because remember, Jason Weaver only sung. Well, no, he was a voice of young Simba too, wasn't he? I think he was. No, did he just do the singing on there? But when you go back and you look at when he's older, he's voiced by what's his name? Matthew Broderick. I'm just saying it's there. It is not even hidden. Yeah, he just did the singing. Yep, that was it. Yeah, Jason Weaver just did the singing. That was it. But as far as the voices, white. Nala, white. But then they had a problem with them course correcting that in that creepy looking Lion King, you know, CGI live action movie. Do you know what I mean? Jason Weaver got a bag. But it's funny that the only black voice, the only African voice is the baboon. Is the baboon. Man, you cannot make this stuff up.
When Disney finally created their first black princess in 2009,
with
The Princess and the Frog, the film generated as much controversy as praise. Critics pointed out that Tiana spent most of the movie transformed into a frog, that the story emphasized hard work themes that echoed respectability politics, and that the villain used voodoo imagery that reinforced stereotypes about black spirit.
That was it. But think about it. The father is gone. The mother is left to take care of the family. The stereotypes is all in there. The stereotypes is already in there. Kill the father. The mother is a single mother. I got to take care of not only the family, I got to take care of, because now it's a matriarch. Now I got to take care of everything that's in there. You understand? Then when my son comes back, he's white as snow. Zippity doo dah, zippity day. I'm just saying, they literally show you what they want to show you. and it's so hidden that you almost miss it because they wrap it up in entertainment. Just saying. I'm just saying the stereotypes is all in the movie. And then what's the name from The Little Mermaid, the crab? What was his name with the Jamaican accent? What was he actually? What was he actually to Ariel? Oh my God, Ariel! Let me make sure to get you what you need. Ariel, don't go there, Ariel. Man, come on. Sebastian was a complete stereotype. He was a complete stereotype. And you're right, Scar. The darker lion, the slimmer lion, the cunning, conniving, you know what I'm saying, lion. Just saying, man. He works for her father. Bingo. He was an advisor. He was an advisor, all right. He was an advisor, all right.
Spiritual practices. Even Disney's attempts at positive representation revealed how decades of racial programming had shaped their storytelling instincts. But the most revealing moment in Disney's racial reckoning came in 2020, when nationwide protests following George Floyd's murder forced American institutions to confront their roles in perpetuating white supremacy. Disney's response was telling. They announced that Splash Mountain, the theme park attraction based on Song of the South characters, would be rethemed to The Princess and the Frog. They also added content warnings to older films on Disney Plus, acknowledging that content included negative depictions and or mistreatment of people or cultures.
And let's not forget, we're going after, we're talking about black people in this, but don't forget, Asians got it, Native Americans got it. I mean, they were just going after anybody they didn't like. The Middle Easterns, they was going after anybody they didn't like. And it's funny because they lighten up the Middle Easterns that they want you to show on there while darkening the other Middle Easterns that was the bad guys. I noticed that because I have Aladdin on Genesis and Super Nintendo, right? And the Genesis one was actually done by Disney Interactive, right? And Aladdin is just like in the movie, is really light. All of the people that I have to fight in the game are all dark skin antagonists. Just saying. D-Sizzle, you were wild.
These changes came 74 years after the NAACP first protested Song of the South. Disney didn't proactively address their racial content.
Nope.
They responded to public pressure, market forces, and social media campaigns that made their historical practices too expensive to maintain. The company that had spent decades teaching children to see whiteness as universal and blackness as marginal was now admitting that civil rights leaders had been right all along, but only after generations of children had already internalized the lessons Disney had been teaching. Here's what makes Disney's racial programming so dangerous. It worked exactly as intended. Multiple generations of American children grew up seeing Disney films, visiting Disney parks, and absorbing Disney's version of American identity without recognizing it as racial propaganda.
Right.
They learned to see white characters as relatable heroes, white history as universal truth, and white perspectives as objective reality. They learned that black characters existed to serve white stories, that black history began with white salvation, and that black voices mattered only when they entertained white audiences or confirmed white narratives. The impact extends far beyond entertainment. Disney's cultural influence shaped how children understood citizenship, belonging, and national identity. Kids who grew up with Disney's version of American history were more likely to see contemporary racial inequalities as natural rather than constructed.
What up, Dirty
More
Joker?
likely to view civil rights movements as complaints rather than corrections.
Exactly.
And more likely to believe that white perspectives represented common sense rather than particular interests shaped by centuries of racial advantage. Disney's power came from their ability to make their racial ideology feel like childhood innocence rather than political programming.
Like, if you was to see that, and again, Warner Brothers, Tex Avery, a lot of these companies had their racial origins. But I would give Warner Brothers its props. It cut a lot of that crap out real quick, because even Daffy Duck always reminded me of a minstrel character. So did Bugs Bunny. White gloves, but sure, Daffy Duck. You know what I mean? But it got a little bit more towards like civil rights and stuff. They really start changing the way that they start programming their shows. Disney never stopped. They never stopped. What's up, Duran? They never stopped with the programming of their propaganda. That's why you see that again. That's why I'm advocating so much to look at what Disney's influence is on Marvel, and you can see their grubby ass fingerprints all over it. You can legitimately see it. And it'll be so subtle because people just take this stuff as entertainment, and people without a brain will tell you it's not that deep. It's just entertainment. It's not that deep. You taking it too far, bro. It's not that deep. But then when you actually look at it in its historical context, and you find out that this is just programming to program you and me, then I guess it's not as deep as y'all think it is. Or is it?
Parents who would never explicitly teach their children white supremacist beliefs happily paid Disney to do it through characters, songs, and magical experiences that felt wholesome and
Exactly,
traditional.
Arbico.
The company understood that racial attitudes formed in childhood were more durable than political arguments made to adults.
Yes.
And they spent decades perfecting techniques for embedding racial hierarchy in content that felt like pure entertainment. Today's Disney acknowledges some past problems while maintaining the profitable elements of their racial system. They've added content warnings to old films while continuing to profit from songs like Zippity Doo-Dah. They've rethemed Splash Mountain while keeping most of their park attractions focused on white historical narratives. They've created diverse characters while maintaining storytelling formulas that center white experiences and perspectives. But
Facts.
the deeper issue isn't Disney's past. It's how their
Being Bo
racial
Willie.
programming shaped American culture in ways we're still discovering. Generations of children learned from Disney that white stories were universal, white characters were relatable, and white perspectives were objective truth. They learned that blackness was something to be entertained by, inspired
Yes.
by, or grateful for, but not something to center, trust, or follow. They learned
This is why they was like, man, you should be happy you got what you at right now. They always tell us that. You know, oh, you can't go through racism, man. You should be happy, man. We don't even do that no more. You got a little money in your pocket. Ain't nobody racist. You got money.
that American history was fundamentally a white story, with black people playing supporting roles as problems to be solved or servants to be appreciated.
This is how I felt about Storm at X-Men 97. If you go back and watch X-Men 97, you will see Storm is just a supporting character to help the white character get through her trauma. But there was no white character that went and helped her through her trauma. She had to go through her trauma all by herself. But when it came to Jean Grey's story, then she needed her black friend to go ahead and give me a pep talk. I need some encouragement from my friend. And that I blame the writing for that.
The FBI files that revealed Walt Disney's cooperation with government surveillance
That's
programs
crazy.
during the Red Scare show how thoroughly Disney understood their cultural power and how willingly they used it to support white political interests. The company that taught children to see racial hierarchy as natural entertainment was also reporting suspected communists to federal agents,
Wow.
connecting their racial programming to broader efforts to suppress challenges to American power structures. This is why civil rights organizations have been fighting Disney for over 70 years, and why that fight continues today. Disney isn't just an entertainment company. They're one of the most powerful storytelling institutions on Earth, with influence over how children understand identity, history, and belonging. When Disney tells stories that center whiteness and marginalize blackness, they're not just reflecting American culture, they're actively creating it, shaping how millions of children will understand race for the rest of their lives. The content warnings Disney added to older films represent an admission that their programming worked exactly as civil rights leaders warned it would.
Facts.
Disney spent decades teaching children that racial stereotypes were harmless entertainment, that white perspectives were universal truth, and that black voices mattered only when they served white stories. Now they're quietly acknowledging that this content was harmful while continuing to profit from the cultural systems they helped create. But here's what Disney still—
and they still get paid for the videos that you're streaming. I guarantee you, if Song of the South was on there, people would watch it just to see why is it so bad. They would. It'd probably be the #1 stream movie of all time. Then once people see it, they'd be like, take that crap down. DeAndre, thank you so very much for the $5 super chat. Outside the censored 11 Warner acknowledged their past. The first Looney Tunes stars was Bosco and Honey, a black couple who didn't rely on stereotypes. I think I seen that earlier that you put, but yeah, that's still cool. Let me go ahead and hook you up real quick.
You are truly amazing. Thank you for your super chat.
Okay, I gotta start hurry up and getting this. Oh, Lord have mercy, getting this stuff done. All right, let's finish this video. Got nothing but a minute left.
Won't admit their racial programming wasn't a mistake or a reflection of different times. It was a deliberate business strategy that used childhood innocence to make white supremacy feel magical. They understood that children who learned to see whiteness as heroic and blackness as secondary would carry those beliefs into adulthood, creating generations of Americans who would defend racial inequality without recognizing it as racism, because Disney had taught them to see it as natural, traditional, and wholesome. The mouse that started as a simple cartoon character became the mascot for one of the most successful racial programming operations in American history. Disney didn't just entertain children. They educated them about who mattered, who belonged, and who deserved to be centered in American stories. And they did it so skillfully that most people still don't recognize Disney's racial content as political programming rather than innocent entertainment. This systematic manipulation of childhood innocence to advance white supremacist ideology represents one of the most sophisticated and successful propaganda operations in modern American history. And the most disturbing part? It's still working. Generations of Americans continue to defend Disney's racial content as harmless nostalgia,
and I love
unconsciously carrying forward.
I love that movie. Jamie Foxx. Oh man, what's the name? I can't think of the name of the movie. It wasn't No. I can't think of the name of the movie, but the problem with that movie is the same problem that I had with Princess and the Frog. My man's a ghost for— you don't see the black man, you don't see his black skin, he's a damn ghost. The main protagonist is a ghost for the majority of the movie. He couldn't even be a living, breathing character. He had to be a ghost. I still love the movie, but man.
The racial attitudes Disney spent decades embedding in their developing minds. If this story about Disney's hidden role in shaping American racial attitudes opened your eyes, click on that video right there to uncover more
All right. Soul, yeah, Soul. I like Soul. I couldn't think of the name of it. I like Soul. I went to the movies. I took my son to go see that movie. And I like Soul until I realized the black dude is not even in he's following after the young white lady in the movie. The majority, I'm like, what is this? The more I thought about it, I'm like, This could have been so well if she, it would have just followed his point of view, just as a man. But what's going on, Mrs. Rocketti? I did like Saul. It's just when you literally start, you also got to think about all literature has some type of political something in it. There's always something in it. If when people start thinking nothing is in it, something's gonna be in it. Some type of message that's being brought out. They did the same thing with the movie Will Smith did, where he was a James Bond. Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, they made him a blue pigeon. I remember that. So yeah, man, I've been wanting to share this video for a while. I'm glad I was able to. Shout out to Black Stories Untold. I would highly recommend you guys to subscribe to that channel. Highly recommend you guys because they got a lot of good stuff. I know an argument. It was one argument that I was thinking about when they was talking about, oh, this is unprecedented. We never had a guy who died and they just killed a character. Well, Bruce Lee passed away. Y'all remember him? You remember old Bruce? Bruce Lee passed away filming Game of Death. Not only did they recast his character with another guy, even in certain shots, they put up it was the CGI of this time, put Bruce Lee's face, cropped his face on top of the other guy that they recast so they could finish the movie. Don't tell me what you can't do. Don't tell me what they done. This has been unprecedented and whatever. Still finished the movie. Yeah, and they had the Bruce Lee craze after that. Yeah, it was that stupid still shot, just his head. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So don't tell me what you can't do. Exactly, or a hat or something. The glasses, I know, because I got Game of Death. He had on the glasses too. So yeah, that's why I said, man, these narratives, man, don't fall for it. This is what we got to go through.
Yo, the sign is real simple, B. It says wrap it up. Wrap that up, B.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. And if you just out coming in, man, make sure you give a thumbs up. Run this story back. Run this video back. And look at all the hidden things that you could be able to see in this video, man. Disney has been doing this. They're not slick. And again, that's why I'm going to fight for recast T'Challa. I don't care what nobody say or what anybody got to say, because look at what they've done. They won't do that to anybody else, but they shall do it to the black characters. But put it in the comment section. Tell me what you guys think. But again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that bell notification so you can never, ever, ever miss one of my videos again. Until next time, I'm going to holler at you guys later. Peace and vibe higher, man. I'll see you back in here tomorrow morning. Where's my outro at? Because you already know I gotta go. Wait a minute. You're telling me the video's over? What? Okay, I guess so. If you have came to this portion of the video, thank you so very much for sticking to the end. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that little bell notification so you never miss one of my videos. And if you really want to, you don't got to, go ahead and follow the social media links that's down below. Until next time, I'll let you guys later. Peace and vibe higher, y'all. Y'all take care of yourself.